What's up everyone, OJ here, and welcome to my review of the Xbox Series X, Microsoft's latest 9th generation console. Now, not to be confused with the Xbox One X, or the Xbox One S, or the Xbox Series S, it's the Xbox One X. Wait, no, the Xbox Series X. Okay, not confusing at all. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm talking about here. I'll actually show you the system so we all know what we're talking about here. Yes, the Xbox Series X. This is Microsoft's new bazooka-ish system that you can literally just fire off shots anywhere that you want with this thing. No, you can't do that, but you can pretend like you can. But here's the Xbox Series X. Here it is, and we're going to talk about the system itself. It's kind of dense and heavy. People said that it looks good next to your entertainment system. No, it doesn't. It does not. But anyway, we're going to talk about that system. We're going to talk about the controller, and we're going to talk about all of the amazing games that Microsoft made sure to have ready day one. Okay, obviously that's a joke, guys. That's not happening with all these amazing new Xbox Series X games. But here's what we do have. We do have a lot of Xbox Series X optimized games, so the next gen versions of those games, and we also have games that are just brute force to run better, like Final Fantasy 15, for example. So there are some positives, but let's start off with this controller, because what are you going to be doing? Well, you're going to be playing with this brand new Microsoft Xbox Series X controller that I think works with the previous Xboxes and all that, or at least Xbox One. But yeah, it's actually nice, light, and sleek. I like the controller. There are some special editions that you can buy. Really, there's no changes to what you would expect from the normal Xbox controller outside of this little share button. The D-pad is a little bit different, and I think I have a regular Xbox controller. Yeah, I do. Here we go. Here is the last generation Xbox One controller that you guys can see right here. Basically just missing the share button. So here's the last gen, here's the current gen, or new current gen at this point, right? So really the D-pad is different. They changed up the D-pad towards more like the Elite, if you have like the Elite controller from last generation. They changed up really some of the grips on the side, like the rubber grips. These feel a bit better on here, and then also on the triggers too. I think maybe some of the newer ones have that, but I didn't have those controllers. And then also on the bumpers, a little bit of like kind of like a grippy type of stuff right there. It's a matte finish, so it's not going to slip out of your hands or anything while you're playing. It has a nice feel to it. I do like it. And once again, that share button is there for those who want to share stuff. So overall, I would say that the controller feels pretty good. Buttons feel good. It feels good to play some games on there. So I don't really have any big complaints about the Xbox Series X controller outside of there's not really any new or different innovation to it. Obviously, you see like with the Nintendo Switch and with the PlayStation 5, those have some pretty cool, you know, haptic or HD rumble and all that. And the Xbox Series X controller really doesn't have any of that. It does have some like, you know, pressure, like the triggers are like, you know, it has like some like feedback to them and all that, like rumble triggers, but I mean, nothing crazy, but it's good. It gets the job done. Now, speaking of getting the job done, whew, this bad boy right here, this system, we're going to go over everything. So they kind of got rid of all the TV stuff that was on the back of the Xbox One. You guys remember that? The Connect ports and TV stuff and all that nonsense. I guess all that's out at this point. So it's pretty simple back here for the ports. As you guys can see, we're going to zoom in. Just some HDMI, some USB, some SSD storage, power, Ethernet, and bam, you are good. There's not really too much on there. You got the ventilation at the top here with this little green swell thing. You got the, oof, man, I can get a work. I need to get my bicep curls in with this. And then you also have this is for like the connected to controllers. So if you want to connect more controllers, USB port right here. You also have the disk drive, which is important. Physical games, you know. And then the eject button. So there's all of that. How do I feel about the hardware? I feel that the look of it is not as appealing as some people try to make it out to be. They're like, oh, well, it looks great. Nah, it's not very appealing. It's just like this big brick refrigerator, this mini refrigerator that just sits next to your TV or sits next to the sun. I mean, it kind of looks okay, but it's not like it's amazing or sleek looking. I actually prefer the look of the Xbox One X more than I prefer like this right here. But it is what it is. It's just a system. It sits there. You can treat it like a computer or something like that. But unlike a computer where you can customize the shell and make it look really cool, right now you can't do that with this. Now there might be some skins that you can get, but overall I'm just not in love with the look of this system. And it's kind of heavy, but it is what it is. You're not going to be lifting it up. I mean, it's a system. It's not a Switch. It's not something that you move around for the most part. Although I've been moving mine back and forth between my office here and my living room. I might need to buy another one, to be honest. I might need to, just so I don't have to do that back and forth. So maybe one of these days I'll pick one up once they have like a Black Friday deal or something like that. But anyway, moving on. Let's talk about some of these games, right? Because that's the most important thing. And to be honest here, Microsoft kind of fell asleep at the wheel and didn't even bother to wake up when it comes to it. They probably got destroyed by coronavirus, to be honest, and all their teams and their acquisitions and what they could do, because there's really no new Xbox Series X games to show off. Now, there are some things. I saw some of my great colleagues out there. They were playing stuff like Bright Memory. I mean, there's some people playing some other Xbox Series X games, but really it's all optimized for Xbox Series X stuff that people are playing. People are not really playing anything new. I mean, the Medium, that got pushed, right? That was a new game that got pushed. Halo was supposed to be the big game that was ready to go at launch, right? Everyone was looking forward to Halo. I was looking forward to Halo. Halo this, Halo that, and then Halo delayed after they showed Craig in that presentation. So Halo got delayed. So really, guys, there isn't much. And I'm used to systems launching with at least like a few exclusives, even if they're not the best. At least they launch with something, right? PlayStation 4, you have Killzone Shadowfall, NAC. With the Nintendo Switch, you have Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You also had like 1-2 Switch, you had Bomberman. There was a few things here and there. PlayStation 5, that's coming up pretty soon here. By the time that you're watching this video, some of you guys might already be playing and everything like that. So, I mean, like Miles Morales, right? Demon Souls. I mean, there's some games, but the Xbox is just like, man, yo, like, what is there? But here's the good news. The good news is this. The backwards compatibility for Xbox Series X is absolutely amazing. It's one of the best backwards compatible systems of all time. It ranks right up there because right off the bat, you can start playing all of your old library, or you can just buy some of these games that are discounted and cheaper if you miss them. So the game that I'm high on right now when it comes to Xbox Series X is Borderlands 3. When you boot up the game, it tells you, hey, do you want to download an update to the game? And it's a free update, and it's a lot of gigabytes, but it gets you the updated graphics. It gets you the 4K, 60 frames per a second, and Borderlands 3 looks absolutely amazing on the Xbox Series X. I absolutely love it. I love how fluid it is. It's much better than what we got on the Xbox One X, which the game was optimized for Xbox One X. It looks much better than that version of the game, and it runs at a much more fluid frame rate, pretty much locked. I was enjoying great frame rates, having fun blasting people up. I mean, it's the same Borderlands that you've always played, so nothing's really too crazy or different from it, but it's still really good running on the Xbox Series X. So I will give some praise to that. Also, Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition and the base Final Fantasy 15, both of those after updates run really well, 60 frames per second. So it's so much better and more fluid playing Final Fantasy 15 at that frame rate. Now, if you have a super high quality TV that's like 4K and has a really high refresh rate up to 120 frames per second, HDMI 2.1. I recently just got a LG CX55 that supports all of that with the best in HDR and the best Dolby Vision and all that stuff, and game modes and fast response times. The Xbox Series X is absolutely a joy to play on there. It's much better than playing on my old Ultra HD TV that I had. So it is something to think about when you're getting these new systems, if your TV supports HDMI 2.1, because the Xbox Series X does, and the games look phenomenal on there playing on the OLED. They have really good response times. It's not going to feel really sluggish or slow, and the colors and the vibrancy of what you're going to get is really good. So I will say that the Xbox Series X is good for people who do want to play games on the big screen TV and can take advantage of the higher quality options that are out there with various different TVs. My only problem is that, yeah, like there's not a lot of new games, which that's the whole point, right, is the games. But it looks like Microsoft is gearing up for maybe a big 2021 or later, so you got to give them some time to get their games ready. But right now, the games situation isn't looking too hot. But let's talk about the actual system software and what it runs on and what you get with it as well. Kind of round it out with this, and it's pretty much the same. So if you've played the Xbox One X or if you have the Xbox One S, I mean, the navigation and the UI and the operating system, it's all still that custom version or whatever of Windows 10. So you should be used to it, going in and finding all your different settings and changing stuff up and optimizing for your TV, calibrating. Everything is all where you would expect it to be. There's not many changes or any changes at all. It was a very smooth transition, whereas you see with like the Wii U to the Switch, obviously really different. You have the PlayStation 4 to the PS5, the same but a number of changes. So with Xbox, there's not really much that has changed. There's a few things, but to be honest, I can't really remember that when it comes to certain stuff. I don't know where the changes were, so I'm pretty sure some of you guys in the comment section can let me know about where some of these changes are to the UI or what they're doing. But I will say this, when it comes to the Xbox Series X, man, it is fast, dude. It is fast to boot up. It is fast to get into the store. If you're trying to search things, it's way faster than the Xbox One S or the Xbox One X. It's faster than those systems. So it's actually pretty cool to go into the shop and see what is optimized for Xbox Series X, see what has like Game Pass. Everything's all listed for you very easily, because this is confusing, right? With all the different Game Pass and also with digital upgrades and this and that. I mean, you can be confusing. So you can go into the store and find out which games offer what very quick, very simple, very fast on there. And the system itself comes with a good amount of storage. As you guys know, storage has been a little bit of a problem with the Xbox Series S, the lower end model, right? Because that only has about 360 gigabytes or so of space. Well, with the Xbox Series X, you don't got to worry about that as much, right? It has custom storage, right? Like the Xbox 360 days. So if you want to expand, it's going to cost you a bit. But before that happens, there is 1 terabyte, which you don't actually get 1 terabyte. You get about 800 something gigabytes of space, which is enough to get you going to where you're not going to have to pull the refrigerator method very often, at least for me at least. Now, I haven't installed all my games, and there's no way all my games would fit on that 860 gigabytes, but it is a good amount to start with. Or if you're somebody new just getting into the Xbox ecosystem and you're just starting off buying a few games, there's plenty of space there. You won't have to worry about too much. All of your social media apps, all of your settings, all of your achievements, everything carries over. It was pretty good. It wasn't too hard to kind of get everything carried over when it comes to that. So that was something that I used the Xbox app, and it was kind of finicky at first, but I got everything transferred over in no time. So overall, if I had to give a grade to the Xbox Series X, I guess I can give 2, maybe. Should I give 2 or should I just give 1? Nah, we'll just give 1. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a solid 8 out of 10. And the reason why it gets an 8 out of 10 is because the hardware is great. The backwards compatibility is great. What they've done with the system and the speed, all of that is fantastic, but the games lineup is lacking, and that's the reason why it gets a couple points deducted. Games lineup is just not very good. So what do you guys think about the Xbox Series X? What are your thoughts on the system? Do you plan on getting one? Are you waiting for more games? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.